Let's start with the governance framework. We will talk about upstream governance and contract management. Then we will discuss a little bit about forums and communication channels. And last, governance structure is a particular example that is only available in the full class, okay? Because it's too otherwise it would be very long, the chat today. So we will concentrate in the first 2 points. What do we mean with upstream governance and how this interact with decision? The responsible for managing a contract is the government, no? That's pretty clear. And the question is that the government is embodied in the contracting authority. The contracting authority is the owner of the project and is representing the government. But it's not the only representation of the government in contract management. There are other agencies with particular roles and prerogatives that will influence in the contract management. The decision-making process, a big number of decisions will have to be made during the life of the contract, need to be consistent with the upstream governance. You know that there is a governance for approving a project, no? Before tendering the project. But here is the same. We need that governance for the full life of the project, because there are critical decisions that many of them are like an investment decision. It's like developing a new project, if you wish, when we decide to change a contract. So decision-making process must be consistent with the upstream governance. And decisions should be fluid. So this represents a number of requirements, a number of needs. We need a proper delineation of responsibilities. We need a proper definition of the decision-making process, including the information, how it's going to be the flow of information and the communication process among different stakeholders, different levels upstream. And we need to consider that decision makers, I'm thinking about Ministry of Finance mostly, must be informed on a regular basis. Of course, in real time on critical events, but there should be some regular basis for this information. This is something that we deal with in our methodology in the reporting obligation upstream, reporting at the program level. Coming from IPEC, European PPP Expertise Center, they say, what is governance? Governance is coordination of the roles of the various stakeholders and the internal organization of responsibilities. This is what I'm talking about. We need this coordination. For this coordination, we need to identify responsibilities among the upstream structure of governance of a PPP system. So we need to integrate contract management in this upstream governance. We know that there are departments, agencies with functions, powers that will influence the decision making. This is the concept of central agencies. What can be a central agency? First, everybody's familiar with that. No, the Ministry of Finance is a big central agency with a lot of power and prerogatives that will influence the contract management. And when or about what? About two things, about controlling value for money and controlling affordability, okay? So in the same manner that the Ministry of Finance will be the main owner of the responsibility of controlling the fiscal impact of a PPP at project approval, they will have to be there during the life of the contract to control that anything that can happen to the contract changes, disputes, risk eventuation, and so on, remains affordable, that the contract remains affordable. And also that the value for money is protected when we are doing a contract change, when we are negotiating rebalancing, for example, a compensation, the value for money is not altered or is not affected. In some countries, value for money control is more in the hands of a central PPP unit, different than the Ministry of Finance. That could happen. Because of that, although possible central agencies could be a PPP unit when they have this coordinating role, but it could be also the case of other roles regarding supervision. We talk about the Auditor General in some countries, or the Controller Office, or the Supreme Audit Entities. No? In Anglo-Saxon countries, we talk about the National Audit Office. In Spain, we talk about the Tribunal de Cuentas, something similar, I guess, in a number of Latin American countries. And it could be other internal stakeholders having an influence in upstream levels that we will deal with them as interest groups, stakeholders. This could be the case of environmental agency that should approve the project before I proceed with the contract or we start the construction. And there is something interesting. There can be decisions that has to be taken at the full government executive level, what we can call the cabinet, through sometimes through a committee representing the key ministries. So we have the responsible for the contract, the contract authority, we have the central agencies, we have the contract manager reporting to the owner of the project, responsible for the contract, the autoridad de contrato, the contract authority. We have a management team that is reporting and being coordinated and oversight by the contract manager. Okay? The contract manager will report to the responsible of the contract, and also it should have some direct lines through the central agencies, keeping them posted about relevant aspects of the contract life. And above that, we have the government, sometimes represented in the cabinet in a particular committee, and we could have other agencies. Okay, so this is a little bit the description that I wanted to share with you about upstream governance and how we need to integrate contract management in this upstream governance, looking for who is responsible of what, knowing about to whom I need to report in which moment with respect to what. No? And the basic things are related to things that will impact in the public finances and things that could impact in the value for money. Basically, we are talking about contract changes, compensation for risk that eventuates, and disputes and renegotiations of a contract.